Hi, I'm George Pearson, and in this Photoshop Elements Layers video, we'll be doing this scrapbooking page here, using some clip art for our frames and putting our pictures in here, creating a custom background as well. I'll also show you at the very end of this video how you can separate this out and print all the elements individually if you want to actually cut them out and paste them into a scrapbook page, giving it that 3D cutout effect. If you enjoy this video, make sure that you click that like button and also subscribe to my channel. If you want to learn a lot more about Photoshop Elements, make sure you look at my complete training, and you'll find links for that in the YouTube cards and also in the description. Okay, let's get to it. Let's start off this Photoshop Elements Layers video by closing down this file, and we'll go for a brand new file here. So File, New, and Blank File. I have mine set at one of the standard scrapbooking page sizes. That's an 8 by 10, 8 width, 10 height, and a resolution of 300. Choose OK. And there we go. Alright, let's now give this a background color and texture. Do our background stuff first. I'll click on the foreground color here. There we are. And the one you want is going to be someplace up in the light oranges, up in this range in here somewhere. Now the one that I actually used, let me just type this one in. I used FFF2 C7 right there. And as you can see here, it's right at the top end of the oranges, and it's at the top of the layer here, so it's full brightness and then real low over here on the saturation. It's full saturation to the right, no saturation to the left. So it's right over here, about a quarter of the way in. Here's the halfway point about here, about a quarter of the way in, and right at the top end of the oranges. But anything in that range will be just fine. Grab our paint bucket here, and we'll just fill this background. There we are. Let's now put a texture onto this. Go up to Filter and Filter Gallery. We'll just do an easy one. And right here in the Texture section and Texturizer right there. The one I chose is Canvas. And I have the scaling set at 132 and the relief set at 7, and my light is set to top left, so the light comes in from the top left corner. So scaling 132, relief 7, and top left. Choose OK. And that just gives us a nice little background texture in there. If we zoom in on this, you can kind of see that texture happening. There it is. Okay, I'll put that back on full screen again. Okay, that's all done. Let's now bring in our picture frames and do those next. So let's go up here to File, come down to Place, and there are the 4 pictures. Now you'll find links for these to download these on my video support page, and the link for that, of course, is in the description and also in the YouTube cards. And using this file right here, it says Frame. Click on that, choose Place, and it comes in right into the middle of the page. Now don't click anything yet. Let's change the angle on this to 90 degrees, turns it on its side, and then holding down the Shift key, grab a corner, and let's stretch these up as much as we can so the frames just come right up to the edge up there. These as large as we can on that. Then choose OK. There's the basic frames. Now, if you want to, you can change the ratio of these. Just grab this and you can adjust the size of that. It's up to you if you want to. We'll leave this at the 100% size. There we go. But I want to have these on separate layers. They're all on just one layer right now. So let's grab the rectangular marquee tool and then pull a marquee around the top frame right there. And go up to Layer, New, Layer via Copy. And there it is. Okay, back down to our frame layer. Do the same thing for the middle frame. Just like that. Layer, New, Layer via Copy. There it is. Back to our frame layer. Same thing for the bottom layer. There we go. Layer, New, Layer via Copy, And there it is. There's our 3 layers. Now hide that background. We're no longer using that. Okay, now let's restack these things. I want this one here kind of on the left-hand side, and then this one is kind of in the middle here, and then the bottom one is kind of centered on the page. It'll be down here someplace. So kind of about like that, approximately. And I'm going to pull this one down a bit here. Notice how the top of the frame is now lined up with the bottom of that frame. That's about where you want it. But just a little bit off, a little bit up, so that this frame just cuts in just a little bit. And same thing on this one, so the frame just cuts in just a little bit. We'll be adjusting the positioning in just a minute. But we can do one thing. I want to have this middle frame, I want to have this frame on top of everything. That's this one here. So to do that with our layers, grab this layer and drag it up above that layer. Whatever's on the top of the stack is also on the top over here. Okay, now I'm going to grab all 3 layers, hold the Control key down, just click on each of the layers. They're all 3 selected. Notice how they're all now contained inside of one bounding box. If we now grab the bottom right hand corner, we can pull this out and pull it out until the frames are just a little bit smaller than the size of the page. Just like that. Okay, now we can come back in and click on your top frame. Like that, just deselects everything. And now you can position these a little bit more exact. I'm going to put this one just about here. I want the bottom one just about centered on the page. Kind of like that. And then the middle one, which is our top layer up here, just kind of overlapping both, so it's interesting looking. You can pull it further over here to the right hand side if you want to. So this kind of goes to the right hand side, that goes to the left hand side. They're overlapping a little bit, and you can see a little bit of the frames poking in the corners right there. And that's just about right. Okay, now let's put our pictures in. So let's bring our pictures in. You can click either on the background layer or up here. It doesn't really matter which one of those is fine, as long as they come in down below here somewhere. We'll be moving them anyway. So File and Place. And let's grab the dog for the top frame right there. Click Place. And there he is. Now take this one layer here and drag it up so it's just underneath this layer. Before you do that though, click on that green check mark right there. Sets it in place. Then drag this up just below this frame here. This is the upper left hand corner frame. You can now take the picture and just kind of put it, just stick it like that for right now. We'll adjust its size in just a minute. Let's now do our next one. Same thing, File, Place, and that's this guy right here. Choose Place. There it comes in, hit that green check mark, and drag him up just underneath of this middle frame layer. So he'll be in here someplace. Alright, back up again to File and Place, and the last dog right there, and choose Place. There he is, green check mark, and take him and pull him down here so he's underneath the bottom frame right there. Again, you're ignoring those. So they're now in the right layer sequence. We now can go in and resize these to properly fit. I'm just going to zoom in at this point. Let's do one at a time. There we go. There's our top dog here. That's this layer. And scroll up a little bit. Grab the upper left-hand corner here. You see we have these control handles. Grab the corner, just kind of pull that down, and then pull the picture over. And keep on doing this motion until you get them sized right where you want. I'm going to make them just a little bit bigger than the frame opening. So here's the frame opening right there, and see there's the bounding box just a little bit larger than that frame opening. It allows you to move them around just a bit to get them exactly, precisely sized. You also want a little bit of overlap in there, so you can then cut this thing out separately later on if you want to use it as a paste up on a scrapbooking page. Okay, just set that one in place. Let's now slide our page around here into our middle puppy. It's our top layer up here, our top frame layer. Come down to that dog layer right there. Same thing, grab the control handle here and let's just pull the handles in until we get him sized just right. I think I can go a little bit larger on him. The main thing you want to do though is make sure that your bounding box, the picture, stays smaller than the outside of your picture frame. Very important on that. You don't want to have any of that picture showing outside. We could fix that, of course, by clipping into the picture, but we're going to try to do things without having to do that extra step. There we go. Choose OK. He's now positioned. Okay, down to our bottom picture frame right here, and that dog is right down here. I'll just grab one of these control corners and pull that in. And we'll just continue on that until we get him sized just about right. There we go. So he's just a little bit larger top and bottom than our picture frame. We can then kind of position him where you want him, just like that. That looks pretty good right there. And choose OK. Okay, one more thing here. To add a little bit of separation on this, let's put a drop shadow onto these picture frames. We'll start off with this one, which is our top frame right here. Go up to Layer, come down to Layer Style, Style Settings, and Drop Shadow right there. Now I used 5 for my size. That's the default setting. On the distance, I set this at 16. It's just a nice distance on this particular image. So there is 16. And then the opacity 75 is our default setting. You can kind of see how that drop shadow works in there. Now notice we get the drop shadow around the outside and in here as well, which adds some depth and dimension to this. I have my lighting angle at 120 degrees, so it's kind of coming in from the upper left-hand corner. Choose OK. So there's a basic drop shadow. Now I can copy that drop shadow real easily. Just right-click where the name is and come down here to Copy Layer Style. Click on that. Come down to the next frame, right-click on the name, and paste Layer Style. And down to Layer 3 here, right-click on the name, and paste Layer Style. And there we go. All right, let's see how this looks. I'll do a fit on screen. There we go. It's a little small, as you can see here. So I'm going to just float this out, and we'll stretch this up. I already know my zoom in size on this, and that happens to be right down here, bottom left hand corner. You can actually type in a specific zoom size right there. In this case it's 21%, just about fills the frame. There we go. So there is our 3 pictures and our little nicely made scrapbooking page. So you can print this out as is, stick it in your book, and you're all set to go. Notice how I've used layers on this whole thing, just layer stacking to get this effect. Now if you want to print these out separately and use them and then cut them out, easy to do. I'm just going to click on this little icon here and hide the frames. There we go. Notice that the dog pictures don't overlap, so they're fine. I'll also come down and I'll click on the background, hide the background, and there we go. Just print that out, and that takes care of your pictures. They're all already perfectly sized for your paste up. So there it is. Now to do the frames, because they overlap, you'll have to do them kind of separately. Let's just hide the dogs first. There we go. Now show the bottom frame and the top frame. Those can be printed on one print because, of course, they don't touch. They're fine. You can print those on one print. Once that's done, hide those and then show the top frame and then print that one. And there you go. If you want to have that background, you can do that as well. Just print that. Although I expect you'll have a nice paper for your background instead, and you won't need to have that background layer. But there it is. Let me just bring everything back up again here. So that's how to do this nice stacking effect using our layers to get a nice layout in here for a scrapbooking page, and also how to show and hide your layers so you can then print those out as separate print runs, giving you the elements you need to then cut those out and paste them into a paste up scrapbook. Thank you for watching my video. I hope you found it useful. If you like this video, click on the like button below to let others know. You can click the subscribe button so you don't miss any of my videos in the future. I'm frequently uploading new training videos. Don't forget to check out my website at howtogurus.com.